Blue canvas steel eagles. The Pacific Ocean stretched out like an endless blue canvas, reflecting the cloudless sky above. High above the water, two specks of steel soared through the vastness, their powerful engines roaring a silent symphony in the thin air. These were not birds enjoying the freedom of the skies. They were predators, sleek and deadly, each a symbol of their nation's military might. One, a Russian Sukhoi Su-27 flanker painted in the intimidating colors of the Russian aerospace forces. The other, an American F/A-18 Hornet, boasted the sleek lines and technological sophistication of the US Navy. They were on a collision course drawn together by fate and the ever-present tension between their nations. Warriors of the sky. At the controls of the Su-27 sat Major Ivan Volkov, a seasoned veteran of the Russian aerospace forces. Volkov, with steely nerves and lightning-fast reflexes, was a pilot who had stared death in the face more than once and emerged victorious. He believed in his country, his aircraft, and his own ability.
Today is just another day in the sky, another day to protect my homeland.
Thousands of miles away, in the cockpit of her F/A-18 Hornet, Captain Sarah Phoenix Mitchell, a rising star in the US Navy, scanned the endless blue horizon. She had a reputation for being cool under pressure, a skilled pilot who could push her aircraft to its limits and beyond.
Every flight is a chance to improve, to be ready for whatever comes our way.
Whispers on the radar. The first hint of trouble came as a faint blip on Volkov's radar screen. It was a contact, unidentified and closing fast. His trained eyes narrowed, quickly assessing the situation. He adjusted his course slightly, trying to get a better angle on the unknown intruder.
What do we have here? An intruder in our airspace. Better be prepared for anything.
The tension in the cockpit was palpable as the blip on the radar screen grew larger. Volkov's breath was steady, his mind racing through countless scenarios, calculating probabilities, predicting his opponent's next move. He switched frequencies, attempting to hail the unknown aircraft on the emergency channel, hoping for a response, praying for a de-escalation. Dance of death. Bogey at 2 o'clock, bearing 035, range 15 nautical miles, crackled the voice of the radar intercept officer in Mitchell's ear. She adjusted her course, her eyes scanning the endless blue horizon, searching for the potential threat. Her heart pounded in her chest, a drumbeat urging her to action.
All right, let's see what we've got here. Stay calm, stay focused.
The two aircraft closed on each other with terrifying speed, their pilots locked in a deadly game of cat and mouse. Volkov, relying on his flanker's superior maneuverability, initiated a series of high G-turns, attempting to outmaneuver his opponent. His eyes darted between the instruments and the sky outside, searching for the telltale silhouette of the enemy aircraft.
Come on, show yourself. Let's see what you're made of.
Mitchell, unfazed by the flanker's aggressive maneuvers, countered with a series of expertly executed defensive maneuvers of her own. She knew her Hornet, while not as agile as the flanker, possessed superior avionics and firepower.
She pushed her aircraft to its limits, her body straining against the G-forces, her mind a whirlwind of calculations as she tried to anticipate her opponent's next move.
The dogfight raged, a deadly ballet of twisting metal and fire. Volkov, despite his initial aggression, soon realized he had encountered a worthy opponent.
He grunted in frustration as his initial missile attacks were expertly dodged. The American was a phantom, dancing through the sky, her aircraft an extension of her will.
He disengaged, pulling his Su-27 into a steep climb, hoping to gain altitude advantage. The flanker, a beast in the vertical plane, responded eagerly, shooting upwards like a rocket.
He risked a glance over his shoulder, catching a glimpse of the American aircraft in hot pursuit. The American was relentless, like a hawk on the tail of its prey. He had to shake her off.
Mitchell, despite the altitude disadvantage, refused to let up the chase.
She was a predator, sensing the kill, and nothing would deter her from her goal. Her fingers danced over the weapon's controls, selecting a missile, locking onto the heat signature of the flanker's engines. "Fox 3!" she called out, her voice tight with the strain of the dogfight, as she squeezed the trigger. The missile leaped from its rail, a fiery streak of death arcing through the sky towards its target.
The sky, a moment ago a silent battleground, was filled with the roar of engines and the shriek of missiles.
Volkov, his warning systems screaming a shrill warning, had only a split second to react. He pulled back on the control stick, attempting a desperate maneuver. It was too late. The missile struck the flanker's tail section with a deafening explosion, ripping the aircraft apart.
His world dissolved into a chaotic tumble of smoke, fire, and the whine of failing systems. He ejected, the force of the ejection seat slamming him back into his seat, the world a dizzying blur of blue and grey. He watched as his aircraft, his faithful steed, spiraled away, a trail of black smoke marking its death throes.
His parachute deployed with a reassuring jerk, bringing his descent to a jarring halt. He hung there, suspended between the vastness of the sky and the unforgiving embrace of the ocean below.
The vast blue canvas of the sky returned, serene and indifferent to the violence that had just unfolded within its embrace. Both pilots, one descending towards the water, the other returning to base, carried the weight of the encounter, the memory of the dance of death forever etched in their minds. The silence after the storm was deafening.